So just a couple days ago, I made my initial video regarding Qingyi and Anby, where I decided to pit the two against each other because I think a lot of people are asking themselves, do I really need to pull for Qingyi if I already have Anby? Does she make that big of a difference? And so I set out to answer that question for myself. And since I put out that video, I've got a lot of constructive criticism and some not so constructive criticism, but so is YouTube, right? But there were some fair critiques in there. At the time, I admit that my Qingyi was a little undercooked compared to my Anby. I had just pulled her a couple hours ago and I put all the resources that I could into her, but she was a little undercooked. So I'm back. I've done a lot more testing this time. I have her a lot more cooked. She's like ready to go. They're both at end game level, and I'm here to really answer, does Qingyi make that big of a difference compared to Anby? Before I answer that question though, let's take a look at each character's build. I've tried to make this as even as humanly possible. They are both level 55 and all of their skills are exactly the same level. They're not maxed out, but this is like passable endgame levels if you ask me. All of the important ones are at 9 and same goes for Anby. I have their core skills at D. Yeah, I want to get them to E, but it's like, it's too expensive, man. I don't know what to say. And this is really going to impact Qingyi because, as the commenters know, this is why she's so good, is because she has that damage amp whenever the enemy is stunned. But at D, it's still pretty good. She's going to get an extra 67% or maybe 68% extra damage on the enemy compared to like 80% if I had her at F. So it's still pretty impactful if you ask me. As for their equipment, they are going to be running the exact same thing, the exact same disk drives for both of them. I have 4-piece of the impact set with okay main stats, and then 2-piece thunder metal, which isn't ideal. I'd like swing jazz, but I do have this impact main stat on here, and then a pretty crappy purple 5-slot, but it is what it is, man. That's all I could get. I also don't have Qingyi's signature. I have Kaleda's signature, which will help a little bit with the energy regen. So as you can see, this is as even as possible, right? And they're both about endgame ready. So let's see which one wins. Round 1. Let's look at Anby first. This is floor 7 of Shiyu Defense. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'll show you the highlights and the time at the end. And this phase is really important because Anby kind of sucks at it. She can't keep all of these mobs grouped together, and it really impacts my time, whereas Qingyi is really good at that. That is something that's really important for Shiyu Defense specifically. So in that department, I think Qingyi has got her beat right there because it's not just all bosses in Shiyu Defense. As you can see, the straggler got away, and it probably kills 10 seconds off my run just killing this guy on his own. Then the boss will come out. You know, I'm doing Anby's rotation, 3 basics, enhanced basic to skill. I'm gonna skip around a little bit to the first break. Okay, so we'll see just how much damage we can do. So I wanted to highlight something here once she's popping off, right? So you'll notice here that this is 150% damage multiplier whenever they're stunned, which is good. That's how it is for everyone. I just wanted to point that out because it'll be important later. You can also see that Zhuyuan shotgun shells are doing around like 15k damage right now while the enemy is stunned. 15, 16. Some would pop up to 21, but in the 15 to 16 range is about average. Right here, he's stunned a second time, and I'm really trying to squeeze all the damage out, but I don't think I kill him quite in time. So this is kind of user error. I probably could have done this clear in about a minute 45, but then I'm just really desperately trying to kill that last little sliver, and it ends up being, I think, 803. But on average, my runs with Anby are going to take about a minute 45 to a minute 55 is how long it'll take to clear that 4-7 with Anby. Now let's look at the other option. Round 2. Let's see what Qingyi can do. Does she make that big of a difference in Shiyu Defense? Let's find out. So you are going to notice with the ads, she makes a huge difference already in keeping them controlled and grouped up. It's not perfect, but then when you add Etherboo and Nicole, they're all just going to stay in that nice little clump, and you can mow them down. Goes very quickly. Get those guys down. I have to pick off that other annoying stationary dude, but I clear it in 40 seconds, which is 8 seconds faster than my Anby team did. Then I'm going to switch back to Qingyi and lead right away with that charged heavy attack to start stacking my debuff. I need to hit the boss 2 times with the enhanced heavy attack in order to get the max amount of damage amp. So I just hit the second one there, just barely. This guy is so annoying to try to hit with it. So I'm trying to stun, and we can see that big damage window. I'm going to pause it here to show you guys the biggest difference between when you're playing Qingyi and Anby. So as you'll see here, this damage multiplier is at 218%, and that's compared to the normal 150% you would get with Anby. As you can also see, each of Zhu Yuan's shotgun shells are hitting for 29k rather than like the 15, 16, maybe up to 21k with Anby. So that is the biggest difference that you're going to see with Qingyi. Yeah, she barely stuns a little faster, and yeah, she doesn't do like that much damage, but the biggest difference is this damage amp, and that is really what you're paying the premium for. So let's see if it makes a huge difference. So I think with Anby, we got him a little over 50% in that first stun window. Let's see how far he gets here. Pretty good, just about down to like 25%. And we still have like, we're still at 854. This is great. We're barely a minute in. And so now I struggle a little bit. I do not stack 2 of the debuffs on this time. It's just obnoxious to do, and there's no point to it. I think I get 1 off before I stun him again. But at this point, I'm just trying to stun him so I can kill him, because he's in such a low window. I guess I can skip ahead a little bit past this chain attack. So yes, we chain attack and he goes down quickly. My final time will be 825, which is 22 seconds faster than my Anby clear. So a little different results this time. You can definitely see that the premium unit is going to get you, more than 20 seconds, which does not sound like a lot on paper, but if we look at Shiyu Defense, in order to get your S rank, you're going to need to do each side of a floor in under 2 minutes. So if we look at 2 minutes as the standard, taking 20 seconds off of that is a pretty big deal. Now that being said, I was able to do sub 2 minutes with Anby, so you should be able to clear it fine, even with subpar builds like I have and subpar skills. But taking that 20 seconds off is really just going to give you the luxury of having your skill issues and just kind of taking your time, or having a less good team on the other side, right? And so that's really what you're paying that premium for. Now that was just Shiyu Defense, and you might be thinking to yourself at this point, does Anby do any better on those big wall bosses where they have a ton of health and a big break bar and they're just a little more stationary? Well, let's find out. We're going to go against the Tonka Truck Boy, who does start with this ad, which also makes a big difference, because without that damage amplification from Qingyi, Zhu Yuan is not able to get this guy down in the first rotation here. You'll see she's trying her darndest, but she's only doing those 15k shotgun shells. And then he's going to recover, and this is going to add like 15 or 20 seconds on to my time because I can't get him down in one rotation. So it's just an ad, but that makes a big difference in my time. I'm even going to skip because this takes forever. I think the boss comes out around 1 minute, maybe 50 seconds or so. This is pathetic, isn't it? Okay, here's the boss. I'm not going to show you this whole thing. We'll skip ahead a little bit. I want to see if I kill him in the first break window. Okay, so with Anby, we are able to kill this boss in the first break window, so not bad, right? I would expect the same from Qingyi. So phase 2, I'm bad, I'm getting hit. Let's see how many break windows. I'm betting it takes 2, maybe a little more than 2. Okay, here's that first break. Let's see how much damage we do on the first one. Go Zhu Yuan. Go Zhu Yuan. She's doing her best, but we are going to have to break again. So let's skip ahead a little bit. We're going to break him again. And then what? He's only got about 25%, so he'll go down pretty easy. Let's see, the final time was 3 minutes and 26 seconds with the Anby team. So let's compare that to see how well Qingyi does. All right, look at this badass, looking at the camera, spinning her staff and everything. So the first thing I want to see is whether Zhu Yuan killed the mob on that first break or not, because that makes a big difference. So let's skip ahead a little bit. She breaks him really fast. You see, I already have the damage amp on him. Let's see, pop off Zhu Yuan, let's do it. So he's still broken, and he's dead. So that makes a huge difference. The boss is coming out before 30 seconds, whereas on the Anby team, it was like 50 seconds, right? Huge difference right away. So I think we know that we're going to kill him in the first break on the first phase. We can skip past this, right? Yep, quick work of him, and we're at a minute after the first phase. So, I mean, looking pretty good here. I think I was trying to stack both of the debuffs here, but I didn't manage to. Oh, I did. I got both of the debuffs. Let's see how big of a difference that makes when we break him. So I think with Anby, we once again got him to like 50%. Let's see how far he goes this time. So if you look up there at his health bar, he's around 25%, so about the same as that last boss. It makes a huge difference having that extra damage amplification. So let's skip ahead here. We've seen the good stuff. What time do we clear him at? The final time here is 2 minutes and 31 seconds. So I can conclude from that not only is Qingyi better on like the ad phases in Shiyu Defense, but she's also even better than Anby on these big wall bosses where she can really get her combos off and stun them really fast. That's where stun makes a huge difference, is those big bosses, because without the stun windows, they're just not taking any damage. And Qingyi is gonna clear that in like almost a minute faster than Anby would on the same team. So that's a pretty big deal. At this point, I think it's safe to say that Qingyi is indeed miles better than Anby is. I'll finally admit it, guys. As much as I hate to disappoint that cute little face that Anby has, I am gonna have to bench her and never use her again because Qingyi is just so much better. Now, do I think she's a must pull? I really don't think so, because as you saw earlier, I was able to clear that one side of floor 7 with my Anby on the Zhiyuan team. So, you know, I was able to do the hardest content in the game just fine. Now, if you're struggling a little bit and you really need to boost one of your teams up, then I would definitely recommend pulling Qingyi. You're going to have a much easier time with her. You saw I shaved like 20 seconds off of my run in Shiyu Defense. That's crazy. I would also say she's a must pull if you only have Anby, because we've been talking about her as like an upgrade to Anby, but if you only have Anby, that's your only stunner, so you need another stunner as soon as possible. And I would definitely pull Qingyi. You almost need her on your account. You almost need 2 stunners until we see what these new S-rank defenders look like, see if they can stun at all. You definitely need Qingyi right now, and I would recommend you get her. But those are my results, guys. I hope that they helped you out if you're on the fence on whether you're going to pull her or not. I love Anby, and I'll still use her wallpaper from time to time, but I think she is going to be on the bench for now. That is my conclusion, you all. I really appreciate you watching. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. And if I'm wrong, please let me know again. Like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'm coming out with ZZZ content all the time. But until then, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.